Hello, beautiful souls, and welcome to Ursula's Journey. I hope y'all are doing amazing, feeling great, having a wonderful day, and also I'm hoping and praying that your families are doing well. Also, you all, I just wanted to come in today and just talk with you and share a word of inspiration, encouragement, something from my heart as it relates to mind, body, soul, and spirit. I have my large jug of water, which I'm trying to do better with you all. Also, I have a little bit of apple juice in here as well. But I was like, let me just sit down and just have a little conversation with you all. You all have noticed I've been adding this to my channel, Ursula's Journey. A little bit of inspiration. I like to call it a cup of inspiration, encouragement. Because that's what I do on many channels that I have. And I'm picking back up, getting back out there on my other channels that I have, you all. But of course, Ursula's Journey is a variety of things. But I thought it was very important to talk more about this actual topic here, stretched a little bit, you all, about how many times people are just asking themselves with conversations I'm having, people I'm talking to, and sometimes people are just trying to figure out how do they get there? How do they get to where they are right now? And many times people are just not sure how they get into this place, how they get into this slump, how they get into this situation, just what happened. And many times, beautiful souls, we may not understand what actually happened because we were going through the motion and we were just trying to make things happen, and we were just going. And when that happens, beautiful souls, it places us in a place to where we're saying, oh, I'm stuck. I just can't move. I can't go. What's going on with me? And the reason I love to talk about this, and this is going to be a very heavy series as a part of Ursula's Journey, you all, because of what I see in the world today, of people that I have had contact with, and then come back and speak with them, and I'm like, things are still the same as it relates to conversations, because of where I have been. I have to pay attention that Ursula's not going back in a place of feeling stuck at a slump, because it's very easy to just make that one little slip and you're saying, wow, I'm back to point of whatever I didn't want to be at in the beginning. So I thought it was something that I really want to share with you all from my heart. I'm looking at my glasses glaring here. So I was like, get on here, Ursula, and talk about this. People are needing this. And when I'm actually posting some things, people are reaching out and commenting about they need this. And I understand people need this, because who talks about it? Who really is freely talking about it, unless a person may say, well, I go to a therapist, that's great. Or I may go to a psychiatrist, that's great. You may have those conversations there. But what I want people to understand is that we as individuals need to have those conversations as a whole. So Ursula's Journey may be pulling some things in as it relates to that conversational pieces, you all. So when you're sitting there, you're saying, well, how did I get here? What's going on? Why is this table turning and keep turning and turning and nothing is being produced differently? It's because it starts up here with the mindset. Fur baby trying to start, y'all. With the mindset. And when that mindset happens, that means that, what's the matter? You were sleeping. We were outside a minute ago. This is why sometimes I can't get my videos in. You want to go outside? You want to go outside? 1 second, you all. Okay, had to get Fur Baby something. This is real, you all. I don't cut out anything, fix the edits or anything, because this is it. This is our baby Cash, so it's like we may be stopped a little bit. But anyway, I wanted to look at, like, people need to think about it being more conversations, because what we're doing in our conversations, we're having conversations to where they're conversations to what we feel people should hear, or their conversations to make us feel good, or conversations to put the facade on and say, this is where and how my life is. But what I want people to understand is not about trying to make sure other people see you a certain way or what they think about you. I want you to understand, think about, what do I see within myself? So as I mentioned, it starts with that mindset of what we need to do, of saying, how are we going to regenerate that, refocus that, repurpose that? What are we going to do with the mindset of different things? See, many times I tell people, the way that you live, okay, the way that we live, the way that we do different things. No, not mommy, tripod, old baby. The way that we do different things when it comes to the mindset is because it's like our upbringing. Yes, our upbringing is what actually folds into it all, which means that mixing bowl that you may have had there involves many different things, from the great grandma to the big mama to the muddy. I had a muddy down to the mom. All of that is actually enforced and it's still there. 1 second, you. So you've had all of this actually placed in this mixing bowl, which means during my era, I am actually a Gen X to where I am 58. So there were a lot of different things that were actually placed in the mixing bowl as it relates to values, to family values, the things that we saw, the things that we actually had in our place, things that were placed on our plate. But what we now understand, I mean, at the time we didn't understand is that this is how things were. Did we have a lot? Of course not. Did we have overflow of things? No, but we were okay to where we knew that, hey, we were happy, we were at peace, we were loved. It was all there. But then things change in life to where people get to a point to where they feel that, oh, I've got to meet this standard. I've got to do these different things. I've got to please here. It goes different levels as it relates to those things. So the mindset shifts there. Okay. And I thank God, I always tell me, I thank God that I grew up in an era to where I had a Medea that actually showed different values of making sure that she cooked meals every day. You know, these are things that people may not think about. The house was clean every day, did not wash Monday through Friday. You washed and cleaned on Saturday. Sunday was a day to do nothing but go to church, have family time. The values were there. The morals were there. That mindset was shifted and it showed us this is what we have to do. Well, right now, people mindsets are shifting and going all over the places because we're trying to incorporate so much into such a little amount there, which means that I do this as well. We wash Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You try and do things throughout the week. You have the children, you have the jobs, you have your ministries, you have church, you have all of these things bottled into this mixing bowl, and you're trying to mix it. And I'm here to tell you, it cannot mix because it's an overflow, not the right overflow, but it's an overflow. And not only that, we're not actually digging in there trying to figure out what are the real morals and values here as it relates to life. So the mindset itself gets overwhelmed. The mindset itself gets to be at it saying, I don't know which way I'm going. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm stuck. And I was listening to someone, I love to watch YouTube, of course, I always share that. And I was watching something and someone mentioned about how in different positions as it relates to us trying to figure out what we want to be or what our talents and gifts are, many times people can't identify, and I believe this, they can't identify because you're trying to do everything. And this was a minister and he was mentioning about how in the church, you know, people are trying to handle all the different roles in the church. But should you be handling all different roles in the church? It's even the homes. You're trying to handle all the different roles in the homes. You might say, what roles? Well, sometimes as women, we have to step back. If you have your husband, spouse, to let him do certain things, and that goes vice versa. Even on your jobs, you can't put your fingers in everything on your job because that's not what it's meant to be. Everybody has their place. We can assist and help, but that means that people have that takeover spirit. I'm going to be serious here. You know, we're going to stand in our truth here. People have those takeover spirits to where that's how they operate and they feel this is what they're supposed to be doing. Yes, it could be considered servant leadership. Yeah, we're serving. Yes, that's good. But think about that. Should you be tapping into all of that? So that puts you in a place where you're just shifting all over the place. And the mindset is just saying, I just can't figure out what I'm doing. I can't figure out what I'm supposed to be doing. I can't figure out where should I be. First of all, I can't figure out who I am. I just can't figure this out because you're trying to tap into all of that. So how does this play into this? You may say, well, Ursula, well, you know what? I'm here to tell you all. The mind, the body, soul, and the spirit plays together in many different capacities and many different roles, which means that the mind can be so overwhelmed, so much can go on. How I know? Because I know. Been there. It can be so overwhelmed to where the soul and the spirit becomes taunted. The body becomes just feeling like exhausted. You know what I mean? Tell me, comment, let me know. Comment down there and say, I know what you mean. Let me know. Let me know if you're with me on this, because many times people are not thinking about that. What we have to think about is that mind, as we always say, the brain works in many capacities and it's going to direct all the other areas of our body. But the mind, you all, when the mind is overflowed, when the mind is filled, when the mind is packed, it takes over. It's going to take over everything else. Your spirit become taunted. You can tell how a person may not become interested in things. The person's spirit may be something that you don't care to be around, or the person's spirit becomes something that you're just saying, what's going on with this person? Something's not right here. Something's shaky here. And then the soul itself connects with the spirit. There's no peace there. There's no joy there. What is going on? We can see some things even within ourselves if we're going through that. And then the body itself as a whole it takes over, you all. So when we get to that place and we're saying, why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? I tell people, I said, well, God did not place us here on this earth to take up space. Everybody has a place. Everybody has something they should be doing. Everybody has a purpose. And I tell people I didn't realize my purpose was until I got older. But God was preparing me all the time throughout my childhood, my teenage years, all the way through the era where it stopped to say being caregiver to my parents, which means that way back, taking care of my brothers, doing things for my family and what have you, helping my mom, he was actually helping me and building me to get to the place of saying, okay, this is my purpose in life. But what I can say personally with me is that that purpose allowed me to not identify who I was, to become lost within who I am. Didn't know who I was because you're always trying to make sure everybody's okay. We can vouch for that, right, moms? As mothers, we're always trying to make sure everybody okay. Women, we can think about that. That's who we are. But I had to come to a place with myself to say, you know what, in order for my mind to be clear, you can't even think sometimes because you have so much going on. You can't even focus. You can't even operate. You can't do anything because the mind is just overflow. I had to realize, you know what? Regardless, I got to step back because it was affecting me health-wise. I realized I had to step back. To this day, I'm still stepping back because I have to do that. That's when you take heed and understand and recognize and accept and say, something's going on. Something's going on. You've heard me say many times, it's okay to not be okay, but what? I don't want you to stay there. I didn't want to stay there. Something was going on. There were shifts going on in my body, but it was affecting first with the mental capacity. You know, we try to handle things so much, and I tell people, I'm around people say I have a headache. If my head hurt, and most of the time my head hurts when I wake up in the morning, if that has happened. If I wake up with a headache, I know right then what? This is what I'm going to get out and show you. My pressure cup. I know my pressure is elevated some type of way, even though I've slept all night thinking, even though my husband sending me a text, even though I slept all night, I wake up and my head's hurting me sometimes. I can feel it. It's like on one of these temples here. And so people at work mention, I'm like, you check your pressure? And they may not understand what I'm saying, but I'm saying everything focused first with the mindset, okay? We're holding so much up here. We go to bed and we're saying that we say our prayers when we go to bed. I said, Lord, whenever I wake up, I said, Lord, thank you. I don't care how many times I open my eyes and say, Lord, thank you. We wake up, we can think about what we're going to do the next day. We're going to think about how we're going to do it. I've heard people say they have a notebook on the side of their bed, they get up and write things down. I'm going to say this, we don't know how to bring it down. How I can say that? Because I know. We don't know when to bring it down. Not intentionally, it's just that we say, that's life. That's the journey that we're on. I understand that. But the world out there puts a lot on us as well of how we should be set or what we should be doing, the capabilities, the standards where we're supposed to be sitting in these different levels. The world is doing that to us, and what we're doing, we're allowing it to take over, which is affecting the mind, which goes to the actual soul and spirit and affects the body. So on today, beautiful souls, I want you all to think about where you are. I don't want you to say, well, how did I get here? Where are you? Where are you in life? I know people tell me all the time they just feel stuck. They just can't get out of this rut. I'm going to stop right there. Rut. That happens. That happens. There's not a quick fix. There's not even a fix to it. That means that you've got to reevaluate not only your life, but you as yourself, me. I had to reevaluate. We have to do that personally. Nobody can do that with us. We've got to do that. And what I do, everybody's different. I take time and I talk to God. I say, Lord, help me. And what I tell people, I say, I don't talk to him. I don't talk at him. I talk with him, which means I take time and I find that quiet place to listen. I take that quiet place. And when you take that time and say, okay, I'm just going to sit here quietly. I have the TVs muted in the bedroom in here. My husband went to take the car to the dealership to get service for something. I turn everything, when my husband leaves out, I turn everything down because he likes to have the Alexa sometime. I said, well, you're not up here. Alexa's going to go away. He'll have the TV up and the TV on, and my TV, I keep it a certain level. But to me, that's too much going on. that's too much going on. It's affecting here, the mindset for me, which becomes overwhelming, which is going to take place of the soul, the spirit, and the body. That's what happens. And I want people to understand that you've got to find that place. Find that quiet place. I've been around people. I'm going to tell you, this is standing in my truth. I'm just going to speak from it. Sometimes I could hear a person saying how they're taking that time and meditating and praying. And sometimes people come out of that and still where they were in the beginning. This is not being any way of a person, but it's like we got to understand that we're just not saying we're meditating and praying, but we're taking time and listen to what God is telling us. Because I'm going to tell you something. When I sit down and I meditate and pray, I'm a witness. When I step over into the world right now and turn on things and step out the door, whatever, God shows me what is a different world. And all I can say is thank you, God. Because I'm not only saying I trust him, I'm not only going in prayer, I'm not only saying prayers, I'm not talking to him, I'm talking with him, which means I'm listening to what he's saying. I'm listening to what he's saying, which means that I'm being quiet. I'm listening to what he's saying. And many times I could be somewhere and say, oh, I hear you, God, thank you. It may be a situation that may not have been something I wanted to see happen or hear. I say, okay, Lord, I hear you, I hear you, I hear you. But God can move it. He can move it, honey. He can pull you out of it. He can do many things. But what we first got to do is go and pay attention and recognize first, evaluate ourselves. Goes back to the mindset, how we do, what we do, when we do, what we say. In one of my videos, I mentioned, and sometimes it takes a while for my videos to upload because my phone had to get cleaned off. One of my videos, I mentioned about personally me with people complaining. We all have situations, we all have moments going on, things are happening in life, but personally, I can't handle the complaining all day. As soon as a conversation starts, it's the complaining. I can't do that. I have to hurry up and get away. That's something I can't do because it affects me. It affects me. It overwhelms me. And then it's going to go on down the soul and spirit and the body. It affects me. I can't do that. That's something I just can't have. So we must understand that those types of things affect people. The people complain affects me. People whine, I'm going to use basic terms, it affects me. And it's just too much for me. If a person comes and they start talking about some things, well, let's try to figure out what's going on. And since you're coming to me, that means you're inviting me in. Let's talk about it. But if that conversation will keep going that way, I've got to move away from it because it overwhelms me. It does. It overwhelms me. So we all have to find those places to where we can say, okay, how we handle these situations. Many times it's not even something we're going through. We're trying to pick up and handle other people's situations, and we can't do that many times, beautiful souls. So what I want everybody to think about is first, evaluate yourself. See why. Just say why to yourself, not questioning God. No, why to yourself. Why are you here? Why do you feel this way? Why do you feel you're stuck? Why? It's something to write down why and just go back and look and say, well, yeah, I'm this way because what? Why I'm overburdened? Why are my finances stressing me out? Because you created them. Why? Why? We have to think about all these things. Why? And that's the main thing. When I'm talking to a person, coaching a person, the main thing is people are talking about their finances. Sometimes people can bring in about their marriages, which I let them know I'm not a therapist or counselor for that area. But we flip it and we talk about things, and it goes back to evaluating ourselves. So the finances is a biggie for many people that are going through things. And that affects so many ways and so many things because people feel that if they have their finances in order or the financial abundance, they feel that they'll be okay. No, not in many cases, because we have to evaluate how we're handling that as well, beautiful souls. That's going to be another series I'm going to talk about as well, what I do. Okay, what I do. And of course, this channel is a part of it too. Talked about my budgeting and all those things I do as well. So it's all intertwined and you'll see it here. But it's the basic things that many people may say basic, but they're overflowing and overwhelming a person that way. But there are basic things that people place themselves in, the situations that they place themselves in, which affects here. So on today, beautiful souls, I want you to just ask yourself, where am I right now in my life? And leave it right there. Where am I? We know where we want to be. We know what we want to try to do or where we want to go. But just first, you got to say, where am I right now? Where am I? So, beautiful souls, I pray this is something that you all can think about, take heed, because these series will be coming once a week. And it's going to be my Monday's journey with Ursula. You all will be coming in. And I'm going to be sharing these on Mondays. Yes, I am. And I want you all to really think about the mind, body, soul, and the spirit. The mindset. The way we think about things. The way we see things affects so much in our lives. So, beautiful souls, you all have an amazing, amazing day. Peace and blessings. And no matter what you do in your life, stand on it. Identify it. Figure out how you're going to work it. And the reason I said stand on it, because many times we don't want to stand in our truth. So I want to end. Remember, never be afraid to stand in your truth. Peace and blessings, y'all. Have a great day now.